This is Terrance Jefe Hodges, a professional kickboxer. This is episode 7 of The Dan Show.
Terrance Jefe Hodges.
What up, though?
What's going on, brother?
Man, coolin', man. What you been up to?
Bro, I have been very busy and very productive recently. For those that don't know, Terrance was one of my first roommates at Fort Valley in 2005.
Wow.
My goodness. That was 16 years ago. And I haven't seen you since 2007 when I came to pick up my stuff from when Fort Valley sent me home in 2006. Shout out to the admissions office.
They'll let you come get your stuff.
Right.
For real.
Shout out to Math 101 that I stopped going to. So yeah, I literally have not seen you since 2007. And the first time I see you, you come to record on the podcast. From now to then. From then to now, right, man.
That's what I'm here for.
Yeah, right. Hadn't gotten better at talking in the past 15 years. But from then to now, you seem to have done a lot and been very active. I had no idea you were training until I got back on Instagram recently.
Right.
So tell me how you went from, we'll talk about Fort Valley, the fun stuff later.
Right.
Tell me how you went from football to being like an athlete to now training MMA, and specifically what martial arts do you train in?
Okay. So around 2011, 2012, I tore my Achilles playing football. So I was getting ready to go play arena ball. Me and a couple of guys from Fort Valley were playing for New Orleans Voodoo. And that's arena ball. It was a little different. We were training, getting ready to go to camp. I tore my Achilles. Man, pretty much was the end of the whole football thing for me. The recovery took about probably like 16 months for real. Like,
Yikes! And what year is this?
that was probably 2013.
Okay.
Yeah, and I had to recover for a little while. I ended up gaining probably 60 pounds, man. I was like 320.
Yeah.
I walked into a gym just to lose some weight and ended up fighting in 6 months. I had just walked in, got with the right people, ended up fighting in 6 months, man. I had my first amateur fight.
In 2013?
2014.
2014?
Yep, 2014.
And what kind of gym were you in?
It's a MMA gym called American Top Team in Buckhead. I walked into the gym not really knowing what I was walking into, but I ended up walking into the gym where all the top UFC fighters or MMA fighters or kickboxers or jiu-jitsu players train at. So I walked in the right gym.
And you were, the initial point was to rehab your injury.
Yes.
That's crazy. Did the injury get rehab before you was fighting?
Man, it kind of did, right? So I was able to walk around, move around pretty good. And so I started talking to a cardio kickboxing class. And the head Muay Thai coach came over and he was just like, hey, man, you can fight. Come train with us. And it started from taking his class to being invited to pro training to having my first fight.
Nice.
That is really, really cool.
Yeah, man. It happened fast, too.
So you have been training for the past 6 or 7 years now?
Yep.
And explain to me how one maneuvers through like the local MMA circuit, or is that even the right terminology?
It is actually, right?
Yeah.
So your first amateur fight is probably real local. We have a good one here in Atlanta called National Fighting Championships, NFC.
That's the promotion?
Yes.
Yeah.
And so they throw shows at places like Center Stage. It used to be Whiskey Mistress. They do all type of different places in Atlanta, right? And you sell tickets. You get your friends and your family to come out and they come support you and you sell tickets, and that's how you make your money. As an amateur, you don't get paid to fight.
Yeah.
So you just have to make your money back on the ticket sales that way.
That makes sense.
But that's how you get started here. So they want you to have 5 amateur fights. So you have to do that 5 times, then you can turn pro. You got to have a winning record after 5 fights, put it like that.
So your first 5 amateur fights are not even like a. That's a thing people come to.
Yes,
Okay.
They come and people treat it like a real pro fight.
Yeah.
But you're not considered a pro. You can't make money. Like the promoter can't.
So
pay
you have to have like a better than 3-2 record after 5 fights.
Yeah.
Okay. That's interesting.
Will you be like fighting before somebody else who is pro? Or,
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
So you're in the undercard.
Gotcha.
I only had 1 amateur fight because I had played for football, and it was certain people can skip over that. The commission is up to the commission and up to your coaches, but you can skip over that. I don't advise anybody to do that, but
Right.
But yeah, that's how it goes as an amateur. Definitely the hardest part is finding the best gym with the best coaches that fit you and balancing life out. That's what amateurs is really for, trying to balance your work life and your training, because it really ain't no you're gonna have to train. You're gonna have to focus on training, and you're gonna have to put a lot of stuff to the side, because this shit is real. I know a lot of people think about it like what they see on TV, and
Oh yeah.
nah, man, that ain't this.
It's real easy to paint a casual picture of like, oh yeah, I think I could fight too.
Yes.
Like I could be a fighter, and it's just like, do you even work out currently?
Do you think I could go in now and learn how to fight in 6 months? At 34 years old?
Right.
So-
at how many pounds?
About 170, I'm being generous.
Man, it's all about how your focus is, how your life set up, man.
Yeah,
If you can put the work in,
Yeah.
you can do it. You can have your first amateur fight in like 6 to 8 months, but it's gonna require.
I'm gonna be at that one too.
I'm gonna abandon my kids
Yeah.
to training riggers.
I'm gonna be like, yeah, get. I'm be like, yeah, knock him out. I'm be like, nah, knock Joe out. Yeah, get him. Yeah,
Okay.
knock that
Hey,
nigga
for
out.
real though,
Those are real friends right there.
it take you about 30 hours a week for real though.
Oh no.
You gotta be able to dedicate that type of time to training.
So
to study.
currently, what's a weekly training regimen look like for you?
So I train 6 days a week. I get off at 5. I'm at the gym at 5:30, and I'm probably done around 6, maybe 8:30, 8:30, 9 o'clock every night.
Whew. And
It just made my knees hurt.
yeah, good God. Yeah, that is dedication, because
Yeah.
that sound like them sound like fun hours that you be sacrificing.
Oh, you miss all of that.
Because I feel like once you get home, it's time to take it on in.
Yeah,
Take a-
yeah, it's time to go to sleep. Yeah.
Right. So MMA and fighting was not on your radar at all until 2013, or was it something in the back of your mind that you was like, hey, this is something I'm interested in? Like, do you at that time were you interested in UFC? Did you watch it?
I remember I was at me and Keith and a couple of my homies at D Wheelhouse, matter of fact, and we was watching Brock Lesnar fight somebody, Cain Velasquez.
Yeah.
And I think somebody turned to me and was like, man, you think you can fight Brock Lesnar? I was like, my answer was like, yeah, man, if you give me a full training camp, man, I get in there and do it. And about 3 years later, I ended up fighting for real. Like, get in there and do it for real. Man.
That's so funny how a lot of things will start off as a joke.
Yeah.
And then it'll play out. The joke will end up playing out, and you be like, "Bro, we used to joke about this. Like, and now you doing it."
For real.
Again, like I said, when I first met you, you were one of my first roommates at Boyd Hall
Right.
in Fort Valley.
Right.
And you played football, and we was roommates. It's not like we hung out with each other, we started hanging out after you moved off the yard.
Yeah.
But it was a very random just meeting and interaction.
Right.
And then after a while, you wasn't my roommate no more.
Yeah.
And then we used to just hang out on the UV with, shout out to JR and Vince.
Yeah.
Man, so I saw a picture of Vince on JR's page, and I don't think anybody has seen Vince since then. Like, that's a
I've
dude that
seen
had
that
been
guy.
off the
Yeah.
radar, but man, I love those dudes so much. They were so nice. Basically, I know them through Keith.
Right.
And then I got cooler with you through Keith, because you and Keith became like
Yeah, that's bro.
close friends
Yeah,
after
that's
after
bro,
I
right?
left. So yeah, it's just so funny to just think back then how you used to play football, and now you're training and fighting, and it's just like if someone could have walked in our dorm and been like, "Hey, you gonna be on your sixth fight in 2020, or 15 years from now, you're gonna be an MMA fighter,
Right.
and you still gonna be weird, but you're gonna be doing this podcast and you be doing photography." I'm just gonna be like, no, I'm not gonna be doing that.
Right.
Like, it's just so funny how stuff plays out.
Man, growth, man.
Yeah, it is growth, and it's so cool for you to just be able to come on, and this is how we just catch up. It's just like knock out a little podcast episode.
Seriously, though.
So after arena football, you hurt your
Achilles. Yep.
Is that's back good, or is it like a link?
I didn't have surgery on it, so it's something that's not 100%.
Yeah.
I don't think it ever, unless you got that type of money, like Kobe money.
Yeah.
It'll never go back to be 100%.
Speaking of money, I mean, there has to be a dollar amount attached to training, fighting, traveling. I mean, I'm assuming you're not like sponsored by Reebok. You know what I'm saying? Like, it seems like this is a taxing for not only your physical but also financial. It seems like the ultimate investment.
It is. When I was telling you about balance earlier, man, is as an amateur fighter, it ain't no sponsors coming. Ain't nobody coming to give you anything. So you got to pay for training. You have to pay for your rehab and recovery, blood work, mouthpiece, gloves, travel back and forth, man, food. You got to eat proper, and eating proper is more expensive than pulling up at McDonald's.
Oh my God, right.
It's a nice bill, man, and a lot of amateurs have to pay to compete. So like major tournaments, it come with a price tag, man. You probably spend $500 just to get into the tournament, and there ain't no guarantee you're gonna win. And then when you do win, you'll walk away with nothing but a belt or a trophy. So like that's the sacrifice part in the beginning. But now that I'm pro, I have sponsors that help me out with gear, whatever I need, pretty much, man. They help me out.
That's what's up. It seems like you started off with a good setup of people, like a favorable kind of jump start into it.
I did, man. I was able to get some high level knowledge for some of the best fighters in the world, and I got to experience being in a room with some of the best fighters in the world, like world champions.
Yeah.
So I was able to correctly assess my talent. You get what I'm saying? Like, you think you can do something. Like, you sit on the couch, you're like, yeah, I can do that. I don't give a fuck. I can do that. He can do it. I can do it. When you actually walk into the gym, you got to be willing to get your ass whooped. Probably.
Yeah, and you just mentioned something. I guess this might be a dumb question to ask a fighter, but like being like a big dude, of course I've heard, or I've even entertained the thought of like, could I get in there and like do that? Like, I'm big enough to where like it seemed like it would make sense, and the very first thing that makes me walk back out of when I put myself mentally in the cage, like, yeah, I'm ready. The first thing I think about is like, bro, the first time you get punched in the face, it's gonna be a TKO. Like, exactly. I am gonna just hit. I'm be like, yeah, that's it for me, and just walk out of it. No, I'm not climbing out of this shit. Unlock the cage, man. So, what was the adjustment of a person not used to getting punched in the face? How awkward, or how much of what's the transition like? Or was that something that you just were okay, you'd already come to terms with, like, hey, I know I'm about to start getting hit in the face, so let me just get used to it.
Man, so I grew up a fighter, so I'm street fighting in whatever situation was in, I was that guy.
Yeah.
But this is different, man. Like, this ain't no adrenaline or emotionally led fight. Like,
yeah.
When they call your name in the back, you feel like you about to go to court, for real. Like, you start questioning yourself. You're like, why am I here? Why am I doing this? It doesn't matter what your skill set is and how long you've been doing it. The same feelings continue come every time they call your name. Like you gonna get a little afraid, you know, you gonna question yourself, that type of thing. But as far as what you were saying is, you know, do you think getting hit in the face, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's a hard one, man, because you just got to be built different. Everybody who does this is a little off, man.
Yeah,
we got to be a little off. My last fight was for I was in a tournament for a world title. I'm currently ranked like top 10 in the world in Muay Thai heavyweight division. So we're having a tournament decide who's the best in North America. It's 4 of us. I should have won the tournament pretty easy, but things happen in fights that you can't plan for. So 30 seconds into the fight, he hit me with an elbow across my eye, and it cut me.
Yeah.
Cut me up. I'm bleeding. I'm an explosive fighter, so every time I explode, blood gushes out.
Yeah.
I just kept losing blood over this fight, and the craziest thing, like every time I would go sit down in a corner after the end of the round, you know, I felt okay after the first couple of rounds. Then it got to the point where it was like, man, you could bleed out of here. Like,
yeah.
It starts to set in your head, and it's like, what are you gonna do? Because ain't nobody making you stay in the ring. You could just stand up and be like, I'm good. I'm out.
Like how I would walk out the cage after the first lightly tap on my cheek.
I'm good, man. But it takes something different, man. You got to be built different and wired differently to be able to continue to go through that and still feel like you can win, man. So
did they stop that fight?
No, we fought 5 rounds.
Okay.
And he ended up winning the last 2 rounds, and they gave him the fight.
Yeah.
But now, you know, I still feel like I won. But I almost did. I probably lost like 2.5, 3 pints of blood, man.
Lord God.
And it was because that was my first time being cut before. And I didn't know what to do. Instead of putting the Vaseline inside of the cut and packing it so it doesn't bleed out, I was putting it on the outside of the cut, me and my corner. Yeah. And, you know, it was just our first time going through that situation.
And, you know, and the adjustment, you don't have 10 minutes later to make the adjustment.
60 seconds.
Yeah, so like you say, those unplanned moments in fighting, it don't matter how, you could train for a fight for 10 months or a year. That don't mean that when you get kneed in the jaw and your jaw is slightly cracked or whatever happens, you ain't trained for that. You ain't trained for, okay, let me work out while like ketchup gushes all over into my eye, because that might happen, but then it happens and the adjustments have to be made. And like you say, at that point, your personal adjustment could be, hey man, unlock this cage, y'all. Like, y'all see me. Come on, bro, stop playing with me.
Gotta do it. Or
the adjustment be like, well, I gotta tough this through.
I gotta tough it through.
Next fight, I know that I could bleed all over my face and my vision.
Yes.
Truly do have to be slightly thrown off to even go through one round.
I think, and one of the craziest things about all of it, right, is I think every man should test himself. Because whatever you tell yourself in the mirror most of the time is a lie. You don't know the truth. Like, a lot of people like to say, if somebody did this to me, I'll do that. Yeah. When it actually happened, man, most people go run and hide. They're like, nah, I'm good. I don't even want no problems. You know, like, you need to test yourself. And not saying you need to go outside and do something crazy or whatever, but you need, in order to know yourself, you got to put yourself in situations where you really do not know the outcome. Like, you don't know how you're going to respond. You don't know what the other person's going to do. Yeah. Like, until you in those situations, you don't truly know yourself. That's my opinion on it.
No, I totally agree with that. And like I said with the last episode with Danny, I think a lot of people are a lot of talk. Yes. A lot of people just talk a lot, and then how they actually live their lives don't be a representation of what they mouth be doing. Right. And, you know, am I saying I don't run my mouth? Of course I do. But I try to be as transparent as possible. Like, people who know me, they know my flaws. I don't hide my flaws with anybody, or I don't just show you the good side. If you're around me, you know the good and the bad. But yeah, I agree. Like, people should challenge themselves. People should put themselves in a position where you're like, ooh, like, why did I make this decision? Why am I doing this? This could go bad, but it could go good too.
I think
but you won't know until you try it.
I think Chad Johnson just did something like that. Like he did a celebrity boxing thing, and people were like, "Why are you doing it?"
Yeah.
But man, sometimes, man, if you really feel like you that guy, and like you feel that in your heart, like you gotta prove it to yourself at some point. Like you can't just wait for life to throw something at you. Like go get it, man. Go.
Yeah.
You feel that way about yourself. Go prove it.
Well, the same way you said, ain't nobody coming to give you nothing, or no sponsors trying. Just because you might look like you might be, the 6-pack and the muscles and the talk and the this, ain't nobody finna come give it to you.
No.
And the same way you shredded, the next dude is too, and another dude might not be, and you might lose to that guy.
That's what I'm. So the craziest thing, man, you could be the best guy around, and you could be fighting somebody who's just a complete underdog, who everybody think has no chance. Man, the fight game is crazy, bro. You get in there, one slip, one punch on the perfect spot on your face, and everything changes. Now you lose, and then even though that was a 1 in 10 time that you'll lose to that person, what you gonna do now? Like, are you gonna be able to build it, put it back together, and get back out there and try to go back and prove that person who you really is, man? Which is a hard thing to do, man. Like,
yeah, especially when you be the big man on campus in whatever respective industry, and then you get humbled.
Yep.
That'd be a lesson, and it's like it's up to you how you take the lesson. You could take the lesson and let it derail your whole. You can let your ego win and let this loss just derail your whole thing, or you can be like, oh, okay, I'm just a dude like everybody else.
Right.
Nice to meet you as well. I'm on the web anytime. Yeah.
And I'm on the same playing field as everybody else.
Right.
Speaking of big man on campus who have to rebuild himself, what do you think about Conor?
Oh man, so when you make that much money, life changes, man. Like if you know Conor's story, like when he was collecting welfare when he first started, he probably ran up 150, $200 million.
Easy. He's easily worth $200 million.
It's hard to train like that. Like, it's hard to. The person you standing across the ring still trying to feed his family, man.
Yeah.
Like, he's still struggling meal to meal, and it's hard to beat that guy. The hunger is different, man. No matter what skill set you have, how good you are, the other person is just more hungry than you. And man, sometimes you end up on a losing streak. Like I think I'm paying attention to Conor's journey because I'm interested in seeing if you no longer have the hunger, can you still come back from losses the way he did and get. I mean, after that break, man, that was some gruesome stuff right there. Man. Yeah. To break your leg like that in the middle of a fight, like that's some gruesome stuff.
I mean, I don't know that he's not done. Like I feel like he needs to be done. Yeah. Obviously, I'm not an MMA correspondent or analyst or none of that, but I am interested. I have in the past 2 years. I think 2020 was huge for UFC.
It really was.
Because they kept it rolling. They did
on
not miss a
TV.
stop. Yeah, and they kept it, and that was kind of the thing. That was the only thing to watch on Saturdays, just an empty UFC fight.
Yeah.
Some of the best fights I've seen were last year too. Oh my God, there were some good ones.
Hungry people.
Yeah, right. You really got to see a UFC at its rawest then, because you heard every connection, you heard every slap, you heard every pant, you heard every gasp of the announcers. But it's gonna be hard to watch another Conor fight, and at this point, even if you're rooting for him, why? I mean, it's pretty obvious that, like you say, not to take away any skill or not even to talk shit about him. But it's just pretty obvious that like the hunger can't be there no more. And you keep putting this, and you know, we kind of got an unrealistic depiction when he trounced Donald Cerrone. That was his first fight back. Everybody thought like, oh, Conor's back, and then it goes on to lose what, 4 more in a row.
Yeah, 4 in a row.
And it's like, yeah, that Donald Cerrone fight wasn't a good matchup, and just it seemed like that was just something they put on a plate for Conor. And then now you think Conor's back, but then you start putting him in guys in his weight class who actually are like up and or some guys who've been around for a while, and then other guys who are up and it's just like, oh no, like we don't care that you Conor, and we're not scared of you. Like in fact, the motivation is higher to be the guy who would be to beat you.
So like I gotta put that in the context, right?
Yeah.
So Conor, he not fighting bums. Like he
No.
fighting ranked #1 contenders in the world.
Yeah.
Right? He lost to Khabib. Khabib probably was the greatest welterweight ever.
Yes.
So his thing was a combination of being rich and the competition level at the top just getting that high. Like
Yeah.
He's not fighting ranked #5 or 6 guys.
Mm-hmm.
He's fighting the top guys in the world, and he's trying to balance business and training. And that's what's interesting about watching him for me. Like
Right.
I understand what he's trying to do business wise, and to be able to do that and dedicate yourself to training. Remember, in the beginning, I was telling you like, man, this ain't something that you can have 1 foot in and 1 foot out of.
Mm-hmm.
Like it requires all of your focus, and to watch him try to play this balancing act and get back in there, he'll come back. He has to. The competitor in him,
Yeah.
he gotta come back. Even though he rich, he gotta get back in that ring.
Oh, he can't lose. He can't lose that. It can't be 5 in a row because at that point it just seems all right. Dana White Conor's just a cash grab for you.
Yep.
You just know that you'll make $100 million more pay per view if you throw Conor in there. And I guess to make reference to people in his weight class, yeah, he definitely not fighting no scrubs at all.
Right.
But I would feel offended if I was in that weight class and I keep seeing this guy get the chance.
Right.
That would be just
to make
like
that money. But the thing about the UFC that's different from every other sport is if you don't bring the views, ain't nobody making money.
Yeah.
And that's the one thing Conor can do, man. He can. We're
entertaining.
talking about him right now.
Exactly.
Like,
Right.
Get what I'm saying? Like, he has that. Him, Donald Trump, and LeBron James, like they have this. Everybody wants to talk about them constantly. Like they're just big views. So he gonna constantly get fights. As soon as that leg get healed and he ready to get cleared, they're gonna put him back in there.
Well, I'd love to see a healthy, like,
Hopefully.
balance, more focus. Probably this is about as humbling of a moment that we've seen for a guy that huge.
Yeah.
I mean, a guy who's fought everybody, including Floyd Mayweather.
Floyd Mayweather.
And that was a serious fight. That little Mayweather and the white boy. We'll just call him the white boy.
The white boy.
That wasn't no real fight.
That
But like the
wasn't a
Conor
real
Mayweather fight,
That
that
was
was
real
real.
fight. That was real.
You know, so to see you go big man on campus to like, ooh, I done got punched in the face I done got beat up in front of everybody a few times.
Let's see
what
get back.
version of what come back.
That's the part that intrigues me. Like just to see, can he build himself back? Can he get back to Conor as everybody wants? And his ability to not listen to the traditional fan is insane to me. Like he doesn't hear any of that because after he lost to Dustin the last time, man, they had memes everywhere. He wanted to get right back in there. This time he was getting beat up, and then he broke his leg again. Like I want to see if he can build it back up, man. That's gonna be interesting. I see that.
So while we talking about famous MMA fighters, who are some of your favorite ones? And when did you even get interested in it? That's why I think I briefly asked you that earlier.
Yeah.
When did you get interested in MMA, in UFC, or Pride, or any of these promotions?
I'm actually late to MMA. I pretty much got interested in it when somebody asked me to actually do it.
Okay.
I got a close friend that I grew up with. He's got 100+ fights. I remember going and watch him fight. he transitioned from wrestling and went straight into MMA when it wasn't no money in it. Like he was just out here getting it in. I went to one of his fights in probably 2010 in Biloxi at a casino, and me and my homeboy Rojak walked him out, and we had his belts, and just to see the crowd and the crowd interaction, at that moment I was like, man, I could do this. Like that part of it was like, yeah, this might be pretty cool. I didn't think about it seriously though. I was still playing football at the time.
Yeah.
And man, to win my own belt and to be ranked high like that too, like yeah, I think that's where it started at. Walking him out to the ring is where it started.
That's really cool. So who are some of your favorite people, or the kind of guys you look up to?
So it wouldn't be just straight MMA, because I do boxing, kickboxing, and Muay Thai and MMA. But some of the guys I study now is Canelo, John.
He's so good.
He's a monster.
He's grown so that. For his career, fighting Floyd was bad for him because Floyd was just able to put on a clinic for him.
Right.
But you could tell he like Shang Tsung. He sucked. No, well, I didn't mean that. No homo.
Not like
He sucked the soul out of Floyd.
man, you know he was like
It's like he took his powers, man.
like 19 when he fought Floyd.
He took his powers, and every fight after that, it's almost like he puts the clinic on.
Yeah.
It's like, hey man, like I know what you finna do next, and I'm telling you that his defense skills after he fought Floyd have just gotten crazy.
That's how it works though. Once you get in there with that level of person, no matter win or lose, man, you gonna come out a better fighter after that. But yeah, Canelo is one of my favorites, man. I study him a lot. Lomachenko.
Oh my goodness, yeah.
Yeah,
The whole Lomachenko family.
Yes.
Yeah.
He's a monster. John Jones, Demetrius Johnson, just the names of MMA guys.
Yeah.
But mostly kickboxing guys like Tyrone Spong and Nicky Hoskin, and probably some guys most people wouldn't even know who they are. Like Tyrone Spong is one of the best kickboxers to ever walk earth, right? He's also a pro boxer right now. He's 19-0. So like that's one of my favorite fighters to study. At this point, man, I'm a full blown martial artist. Like it, not just a striker. I pretty much study everything, man. So like in my gym, there's Douglas Lima. Douglas is at the top of MMA here in Atlanta. He's the Bellator welterweight champion, 3-time welterweight champion. He's won tournaments over there, so he's the most high-ranked fighter here, and he's trains out of our gym, man. He's one of my training partners. So I get to work with him a lot too.
That's really dope. And you say the 3 things you train in are what?
Muay Thai, kickboxing, and MMA. But I also have pro boxing fights too. So I'm pretty decent with these hands too.
So rolling is only in jiu-jitsu, right?
Yes, I do jiu-jitsu as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is jiu-jitsu kind of a blanket, or is it specific?
It's very so BJJ is his own sport. But it's one of the most important pieces of mixed martial arts, though.
Yeah, that seems to be the core for everybody.
If I know it and you don't care what you got going on. Yeah, you gonna lose.
Yeah, right. It's really a beautiful thing. I got to hang out with a group of friends that went to Emory that trained.
Okay.
And used to roll a few times a week, and we would get hammered and we'd get on the floor and roll, and they would show me like different stuff, and like you say, a guy Joe's size, I get on the floor and roll with him. Before you know it, he got his elbow on my neck, and even or pushing my neck down into my, and I'm like, hey bro, okay, yeah, that's it, like, and it's just amazing how he's just like, hey bro, it don't matter if I know it and you don't, you're not gonna win.
You're not gonna
win.
Male, female, big,
right,
small,
and it's so funny because they used to always talk. They were like, some of the most fiercest people at the gym is some girls that if you saw them outside the gym, you wouldn't even think that they knew how to push somebody,
right,
or whatever. And it's like, these girls will kick your ass, like no doubt about it. It's just like, yeah.
Jiu-jitsu was one of those things, man. It was one of the first humbling moments of my martial arts journey. Period.
Yeah.
When I first got in there, they put me in there against this guy. He's a little older than me. His name was George. He was like 130 pounds, soaking wet, man. I thought I was going to grab him and throw him everywhere.
Yeah, yeah.
He choked me out probably 10 times in 3 minutes, man. Like,
Just effortlessly.
Like,
And in different like, oh yeah.
Every different, no matter how the more aggressive I got, the more I got choked. Like every time it kept happening. And the thing about jiu-jitsu is you don't know who has it. Like I'm a big dude, so you'll think you're caution before you come.
Yeah, you'd be more inclined not to fuck with a guy like you,
man,
or like me.
The little nerd at the bar, working on his laptop.
Yeah,
man, got jiu-jitsu, break every bone in your body.
Yeah, it's crazy. Hanging with those folks made me realize that you can't paint people. You can't judge a book by its cover,
yeah.
And you never know who you're dealing with. So even when you get into like interaction with people, or like if you might have some negative interaction with somebody where you're mouthing off to them, or you think just because you're a big guy that you could just be a bully, you fuck around and get your ass kicked in Kroger parking lot, like fucking with somebody who actually trains.
And it's not even like a ass kicking like you got to fight in a club. I mean, like these people will break your legs, your arms,
right,
choke you to sleep. They
well,
can
yeah,
kill you if they want to.
Right. Tapping only happens when you're training in the gym or you're fighting. Tapping don't mean shit out in public.
They do not.
You just gonna get choked to sleep, and then Buddy gonna get in his car and continue running his errands, or go in Kroger and pick up his little zucchini and little squash to eat that healthy meal later.
Yep.
Like, damn, I don't want to kick this nigga ass. But
that's just how it goes.
That's how it goes. So, yeah, I think
it teaches you, like training in martial arts teaches you respect for people. Like it ain't no only assholes. Like it's some assholes that do martial arts or whatever that'll pick on smaller people or whatever. But for the most part, you kind of respect folks because you don't know what they know. First of all,
yeah.
Like, I don't care what kind of moves you in. You gonna caution yourself before you walk in there and try somebody. Like you don't know what they know. That's the biggest thing.
Yeah.
The most ignorant person is usually the one who always trying to start shit every time they go somewhere. Like,
yeah, for sure.
That don't know anything.
Well, that's crazy. We can go back. We'll wrap it up talking about Fort Valley a little bit.
That'll work.
Like I said, we was roommates briefly. Then you moved off the yard to the UV. We used to come to your house, play spades. I forgot who your roommates were back then. I guess it don't.
Big Jeff.
Oh, who used to play basketball?
No, Jeff played football.
Football.
Big Jeff.
Yes, football.
Yes.
I remember Big Jeff. We used to play spades. Me, Mike, Keith, both of my roommate Mikes. Shout out to Michael Green. Shout out to Fat Mike.
Yep.
I miss y'all, man. Like y'all used to be my boys, man, for real. Shout out to Keith. One thing about Fort Valley, I'm glad it was short-lived because I was only down there because of the Next Step program. Shout out to Shirley Franklin for funding my first year of college. I was only there because I had money just for 2 semesters and I had Pell Grant.
Okay.
And then once I got suspended for like messing up in one class, all I had to do was write an appeal to come back. But in my 19 or 20-year-old mind, it's like, oh, I could go back home to Atlanta, or I could continue to live in Peach County where I have no car, no money, no job.
No, nothing.
Right.
No people.
Yeah, right. So I'm glad it was short-lived, but I'm also glad I got to experience Fort Valley because, one, going to college wasn't on my radar whatsoever. Shout out to Miss Bird for even telling me about Fort Valley and sending me on the tour down there. You're the reason why I started going to college, so thank you so much. I met some of my favorite people and some of my best friends at Fort Valley, Keith being one of them. But like, even though I didn't stay and didn't really get the full Fort Valley experience, it's still people to this day that I reach out to and I talk to and that I only know from Fort Valley. Right. So it was a really cool experience. Shout out to everybody who I've gotten cool with from there. Steve, Babatunde. Shout out to Jabbar too. You follow Jabbar? Bro, Jabbar might be, he need to be the new Dos Equis guy. He might be the coolest man on the planet. Look, I knew Jabbar. He had a picture with Jordan at one point. I'm like, bruh, Chameleon couldn't even get a picture with you. Like a millionaire somewhere just, who is this big light-skinned nigga with Jordan? He wouldn't take a picture with me. But yeah, he's doing his thing.
Yeah.
But oh yeah, my most memorable moment of being in the UV was probably somewhere around 2006. It's when ATL came out, and we watched it on bootleg. We had it on bootleg. So we was all watching it at your place, and I just remember after ATL went off, everybody looked at each other and was like, "What the hell was that?" Everybody was like, "What was that?"
Right.
ATL was the biggest pump fake rollout movie
It really was.
in cinema history. Well, no, I'm not gonna say shout out to you. Right. Maybe a year ago I would have said that. Keep my hands clean. Now, when they were promoting ATL, he tried to make it seem like it was about to be a trap story.
That's what
How
it
he
seems
took
like,
over
right?
the A.
Yeah.
And bruh, when he strapped on them skates in that movie, and when he jumped over that little crowd, I was like, T.I. have swindled millions of dollars out of everybody. You don't gotta sell dope to make money. Be clear. That's me and Keith's favorite thing. If we tell somebody,
Be clear.
you'll be mad at Keith, like you'll be legit frustrated at Keith about something, and he'll be like, "Be clear. This is my daddy house." And I'll be like, "Damn, I can't even be mad at you no more." So yeah, man, we had some fun times at Fort Valley, and
man.
like I said, we're not gonna get too specific with names, but you know, like even having you on here face to face, chatting it up in my living room, and I have not seen you in so long.
Right.
Like I think 2007.
That was a long time ago.
Legitimate, because I had to come get all my stuff.
Yeah.
Fort Valley told me to go home summer 2006. It's crazy because me, Keith, Babatunde, we had rented a house on I forgot what the little street is. You know, one of them
Right,
little houses.
yeah.
Yeah. And then I couldn't go. I just stayed home. So then I don't know who ended up living there in my place, but Keith had all of my stuff though.
Oh, I do remember that.
My TV, like, just a bunch of stuff that I just like, well, fuck it. I'll go get that stuff at some point.
Yeah.
So I killed two birds with one stone, and I came back homecoming 2007. And that's when I was staying with y'all at y'all's crib off of, I don't know the name of these
The little
streets
blue
no
house.
more.
Yeah,
Right. So it's just crazy. It's like now 14 years ago?
Man.
That don't seem like it's right.
We old, man.
We
It's
old.
okay.
It's
We
crazy.
Old, folks. We
Yeah.
old.
Shout out to Fort Valley, man. And I really appreciate you coming on.
Yes, sir.
Like I said, this was a very organic thing. You literally just left a comment on one of the videos, and then I'm like, oh, if you for real, like, we gonna make it happen.
Let's do it.
But I hadn't been on Instagram for the past 2 years, so it's crazy. I'm able to dive back into people's lives that I've disconnected myself from just voluntarily. And like people are doing just totally different lanes of things that they were doing 2 years ago. For some people like you, like I'm very proud. For other people, I'd be like, you might want to explore the lane you was doing before. Yeah, you might want to do something different. That don't seem like it's planning out.
That ain't your thing.
Yeah, right now that don't seem like your thing. But like, to scroll back through your page, I'm like, oh wait, he's in a cage fighting.
Man.
And then I scroll and I'm like, oh, bro, like training and it's cut.
Not just training,
and
whooping folks' ass.
I decided to wear this large shirt today because he wasn't gonna be the only nigga with muscles. You know what I'm saying? Look, I've been straining the whole time. Yeah, so.
You had me weights out before you came through there. Who's this white man with braids? This fat white man with braids? You just put this combo on. Like the first day he told me, I was like, oh yeah, I got my boy trying to come on the show. He did, he did the MMA. I went and I looked on your page. I seen that kick right there. I was like, hey man, like I can't even get my leg that high. Like,
right. And you're a big guy. And you seem to be very agile for your size.
Man, that's the whole thing, man. Like, so when I came into it, like I was already an athlete. I already trained. Like as far as movement wise, football wise, I could move differently from most people who was doing it. And I thought that would carry me and help make me better in there. But nah, you gotta learn the skill, man.
Yeah.
You definitely gotta learn the skill. But the guy I was fighting here, He's actually 21-6.
Wow.
And he's been at the top of the game. I was in that tournament. They matched me up with him for him to beat me up. Like he was supposed to beat me. But that ended up being one. Yeah, that was like one of the.
Not the braids out.
No, Iverson braids hard though. I ain't gonna lie to you.
Shout out to White Iverson.
Yeah, for real though. But yeah, that was one of the best combinations I was able to put together. I think I hit him like 24 times.
Oh man.
Damn.
Tough white man. Tough dude.
He didn't fall.
He didn't fall.
You know?
I hit him with knees straight to the face.
He ate it.
Man.
How long do you typically train for a fight? Like what time do you put aside?
That's the.
Other than like what your normal regimen is.
So that's the only time I have to train.
Yeah.
So what I have to do is I have to shift my focus.
Yeah.
And instead of helping other people and teaching class or holding pads for somebody else or teaching somebody else, I have to focus on me. I gotta go run and I gotta go make sure I'm in a little corner with my headphones on, working on my game. Man, this stuff is serious, man. The focus, the mental focus that you have to get to be able to get in there and do it at a high level is, man, it's something different.
Man, I'm really proud of you, man. Like for real, dog.
Yes,
like to see the point of this show is to bring people on and promote their craft or their talent or their business, and I just love that. Like, I love your progression. I love your story. I think this is really cool. I look forward to more guests like this. To where we can just catch up and knock out a podcast episode.
Right.
Is there anything else you want to say to tell people where they can follow you? You want to promote a brand? You want to shout out some of your peers?
Man, the main thing I want to say is, I fight August 14th in Tulsa, Oklahoma for XFN. It will be a 4-man tournament, so I'll be fighting twice in one night. It'll be on UFC Fight Pass. Y'all got the details will be on my Instagram. Is EYE_AM_JEFE. I am Jefe.
Cool, and it'll be under there. You can follow all that dates. Well, that's awesome, Joe. You want to say something? You think about going into training, my boy?
Yeah, man. You know, I've been thinking about it for a while now. I used to get into a lot of fights when I was a kid, but
So for those that don't know, Joe is undefeated.
Oh yeah,
in these streets.
Yeah. But
I
it's
don't
been like 14 years.
Right, it's been a minute.
Man, both y'all should come by the gym, man. Come by the gym. I got pad work for both y'all just to introduce you to it.
I would love to.
It, man.
I'm definitely gonna reach out to you.
We can record it, make it a show out of it.
Me and Dave should do it.
Yeah. Oh yes, bro. If Joe drops me on camera,
I'm with it. Let's go.
I'll teach both of y'all the basics.
Okay.
And then y'all spar for a round or two, and we'll record it, man. We can do it like that. That's a show.
You hear it. That's look. That'll be some content coming out. That'll be hilarious. Oh my god. Look at my boy trying to be a promoter. You just promoting fights over here. Look, this gonna be on Triller. It's gonna be the main card.
If Jake Paul can do it, anybody can do it.
Right.
Like, that's another side of this fight game stuff, man. Like the promotion side, being able to be to get eyes on you, man. That's Jake Paul made more money than most 90% of the pro fighters that I know.
Yeah.
In his last fight, walked away with $10 million, man. Like, man, the heavyweight champion of the world probably only get $900,000 for a fight right now.
Yeah, him and his brother Logan have figured some stuff out, and I don't know. I don't want to really talk about them too much because it's kind of it's kind of cringe a little bit. I'm not hating on the hustle at all, but I'd rather see someone else in the ring with Floyd Mayweather than Logan, than a guy I've never heard of before. I mean, surely he can kick my ass. Maybe. I don't know.
It's the thing. If you train, like, they were regular podcast people, man.
Yeah.
They just got in the gym, started training, and ended up fighting, man. Like, not saying they're good, but they make money.
But your point is bringing them up was the promotion.
Yes.
It's like
you got to be able to promote
if you can
yourself.
bring the views in, it don't matter what the actual skill or talent is, or if it's just a base level. It's just like, well, now people are watching for whatever reason now.
For whatever reason right now.
And
it
don't matter.
It don't even matter. And yeah, that's what we got to get good at. So every media opportunity, that's why I hit you up like, man, let's do it, man. Let's get on the show. I've only done a couple of podcasts, and man, I might as well get good at doing it if I plan on being in front of people. So yeah.
Well, I can't thank you enough for coming on.
Yes, sir.
Again, you can follow him at I am Jefe with _. It'll be here. You know where to follow us. Like and subscribe, even though you don't do it. Okay. It's like, oh Lord. But yeah, best of luck to you in the future. I'm definitely gonna take you up on me and Joe pulling up.
Oh yeah.
And it's gonna be hilarious.
Let's do it.
So I'll be seeing you again soon.
All right.
And this was just a fun way to reconnect with you, man. Like, this is awesome.
Yes, sir. Thank y'all for having me.
And we out of here. Peace.